tonight is a member's image as well. So this is a member of our group, and she posted this image, and she was asking for CC on it. And so one of the things that I said is that it's not exactly straight. I don't know if you can see that, but it's like visually this is crooked and that makes that crooked. And so your eye kind of goes to the wrong areas, as well as I feel like it's pretty desaturated. I don't know that it necessarily has the feel that I would assume she probably is hoping for with this image. This is just a JPEG, so I don't have the raw version of it, but we'll work with what we have. So my goals with this image are to warm it up and just really give it a lot more life. I'm going to just take care of that little blemish there real quick with the spot healing tool. Okay. So what I'm thinking of is what it needs is some boosts and some light. So even though this is not a raw image, I can still bring it into camera raw and work with it there, which is where I'm gonna just begin, because camera raw really is great to begin with as a beginner photographer. So in camera raw, you have your basic section and you have your temperature. So you have to think about color and what it does. So cooler color is going to have a different feeling than the warmer. So you can see as I slide this yellow, it automatically has kind of a different feel to it. And so I'm definitely going to go towards the warmer area. Tint wise, green or red. So again, color plays a huge factor in this and how an image feels. And so I'm just going to kind of keep that towards the middle. Overall exposure isn't bad. You don't want to necessarily go crazy with it, so I'm going to keep the exposure right about there. Contrast, I'm going to slide that around a little bit. We're going to increase the contrast just a little bit. I am going to bump my highlights up a little bit. I'm going to lift my shadows up, and the reason I'm lifting my shadows is because this little girl's face right here is a little too dark for me. So I'm just going to do that. And then the whites, I'm going to bump those up just a little bit. Blacks, where do those need to go? I'm going to actually pull those back. Then I'm going to go into my vibrance and saturation, and I'm going to increase that just a tiny bit. Now, one of the things I notice is I'm increasing the vibrance and saturation. And what I like is I like how it's working with the kids' clothes, the jeans, the gold. What I don't like is that it's turning my subjects yellow. And so I'm going to show you how to remedy that in just a minute. So I'm going to keep pushing that, pushing it till I see something I like. And I like it right about there. So I'm going to hit OK. So what it's going to do is it's going to bring it back into Photoshop and apply it. Now, because I don't want my little girls to be yellow, I'm going to actually go back in my history and get rid of it. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate my layer. So I'm on a new layer. I'm going to go back to filter and just reapply that camera raw filter to this new background copy. Now, like I said, I don't want my little girls to be so yellow because that's not normal for them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and hit this layer mask right here. And what the layer mask does is it either takes it, so you can Command I, you can invert it, so it applies it, but it gives you the ability to use a black or white brush and either apply it or take it away. So right now it's visible, it's white, it's visible. So I want to take it away certain areas. So I'm going to do that with the black brush. And I'm going to bring my flow down because I want it to blend in. I don't want it to look completely different. And I am going to see what happens is now she looks gray and I don't want her to look gray. So I'm taking too much of it off. So I'm going to bring it down even more. And I still don't like that. So I'm going to do that. So 4%, okay, very low. And I am just going to slowly kind of paint it off of the little girls like that. Okay. So you can already see the improvement that we have here. It's kind of gone from dull and desaturated to now it's a little more vibrant and it pops a little bit more. So I'm going to flatten that. Now, the next thing that I would do, I would obviously do some skin retouching here because I don't like how these shadows are falling on her face. And so I'm going to show you. I'm just going to duplicate that layer. Never work on your background. And on a very low flow, I'm going to go to my clone stamp and on 19%. I'm going to get that a nice soft brush. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab that light part and I'm going to pull it right across her face just a little bit, just because I feel like for some reason she is just super shadowy and it looks like she's got something on her face here too. But I just want to do that because I do not necessarily like what's going on with her face. And we can even come over here and just get rid of some of those noisy spots. And I actually think that's what it is I think it's more noise or grain from the ISO than necessarily lighting. So I'm going to pull back on that and I'm going to drop my opacity because I don't want it to be too strong. So what I usually do is I will start dropping until I go too far and then I'll come right back up. So I end up about 59%, but you can see the difference that that makes in their face, right? So I'm going to flatten that. Okay, so where are we? So far we have gone from there to there. So what are some more changes that I would make just with the coloring of this? I would go down to selective color and I would kind of play with these. I wouldn't play with all of them because you can go through every single color and adjust it. I'm just going to kind of go through these, the main ones, which is going to be the whites, the neutrals, and the blacks. So there's really not much cyan in this image, so that's not going to do much. So you can see what's happening here. When I am in the whites, I can pull or increase that magenta. It's either going to go towards the red or the purple, so I'm going to actually slide that down. And then the same thing there. I'm going to bring that back just a little bit because I like the way it looks better. And what do I want to do with that? I actually don't mind the blacks coming up just a little bit. So neutrals, the same thing. So see, that affects more. Your neutrals is always going to affect more. And where do you want that to be? And this is really where it comes down to personal preference, but I like it there. Magenta, same exact thing. So when you see actions and stuff, essentially what those actions are is this, what we're doing, this process right now, but automated for you. And the benefit of that is that if it works good. The downfall is if it doesn't, then people apply these images or actions to their images and they don't know why they don't look good because they don't work with every single image. And I will show you a trick. So we're in blacks right now, right? So blacks, I'm just seeing what colors do I want in my black? Where do I want that to go? And I feel like I want to go there. And like I said, this is all through my eye. I'm just, what looks good to me, because this is how you develop your own style. Another photographer could take this and do something completely different with it. I'm just doing what I like. So if you ever see a map photo and you're like, how did they get it? This is how they do it. They go to their blacks and they pull them back. So that is how you can add a matte effect to your photo. And we'll matte it up just a little bit, I think. So as you're making these adjustments, it might seem like you're not doing a lot, but when you turn them off and turn them on, you can kind of see the difference a little more drastically. So that's kind of basic. I mean, there are a ton more things you could do with an image like this: dodge and burning, sharpening, those sorts of things. Do I want to take the time to show you guys that right now? I think we're going to leave it as this. We'll just leave the tutorial for this for now because I want you guys to kind of be able to focus on one thing at a time. So just gonna see what this looks like cropped a little bit better. So when you crop, like, so our photographer was this way a little too much, in my opinion, to the left. Not so much straight off. So what you're happening is you're getting a crooked line here and the fireplace mantle is crooked. So you have to decide what's more important to you and as far as that goes and how you want to crop it and all of that stuff. Me personally, I think what I would possibly do is something maybe something like that. But that gives you a basic idea of how to kind of warm your picture up using camera raw, and then how to change just some of your colors just a little bit in order to get a more warm, more saturated feeling. And you can push those changes even more. There's more that could be done to an image like this, but that is kind of a really basic thing to kind of just learn and to start with before you overwhelm yourself.